Hello and welcome to HyzerMedia's coverage of the Warwick Open. Today we're taking a look at the lead card final front nine from Brakewell Steel Warwick, located in Warwick, New York. This tournament is put on by BS Bochantin Upshot and supported by our Patreon supporters. So thank you to all of them. I'm Dave Oster, here with Wendy Oster. Wendy, how's it going?
It's going great. Benjamin Sharib started round one with -5. Richard Sassaman, -1. Keith McCormack, a +3. And Will Fitzgerald, a +4.
That's right, and we'll see their entire scorecards from round one. Quite a few birdies, but also lots of other colors up there, bogeys, double bogey. So we'll see if these players are able to clean up their second round. And we will begin on hole one. Wendy, what do we got?
Hole one is a par 3 at 234 feet.
That's right, and these players will probably be going either with a backhand turnover or a forehand hyzer shot, having to avoid one small pocket of out of bounds on the left and a steep slope behind the basket. And we'll see how they're able to tackle it. Ben starting off with a high turnover. Looks like just a bit too high. Hits a branch, kicks down short, maybe circle 2. We'll see if Rich, going the same line, assumably, will get a little bit lower. Does take it lower, a little bit wider. Oh, kicks off a tree in the out of bounds, but looks like he got through it over the out of bounds. He'll be inside the circle's edge, maybe a little bit into circle 2. Keith will show us the forehand line, catches some leaves, falls down short. Needs to get that one just a little bit lower, and that was looking like a good line. Will taking a little bit lower, a little bit wider, around the out of bounds.
A little down the hill on that one.
Down the hill is not a great spot to be, although depending on how far down you go, it is right on the circle. And we'll see Keith down there as well. So the two of them will show us what that look is from down there. And Ben with just a bit of a tentative putt, not wanting to end up down where Keith and Will are.
Oh, just short.
See if Keith can make the correction from Will. Get enough height on this. Oh, just a bit too much height. And that does sit. So this is where Richard wound up. Does have a putt.
Oh, got chains.
Oh, got a few chains, not enough. Need to be just a bit more on center. That is a nice putt by Keith. Unfortunately, it's for the bogey, but obviously could always be worse. Similar putt from Ben for par. And we'll see Will and Rich tap in for their pars as well.
And what kind of putt do you think that was called, David?
That was kind of a forehand vertical putt. I'm not sure if there's a specific name for it. Definitely unique. We'll see if he'll be doing that for anything other than a close kind of tap in. But we move on to hole 2. What do we got?
Hole 2 is a par 4 at 438 feet.
That's right, and these guys are just trying to get out into the opening. The open field will set up their second shots to try to get a backhand hyzer over this hill and land on this precariously perched green. The pin sitting on a pile of rocks, so depending on how close you are, you could have a little bit of an awkward footing. Ben gets just a little bit too tight and falls short of being all the way out in the field, but he should have a look from there, being out in the open. Bad kick to the left for Richard, but he should have a look as the fairway does bend to the right, so kicking left probably not as bad as a hard kick to the right. And if that stays flipped, yep, gets out into the field. That's a pretty good shot. Little low, you know, that's a good safe play. If you're trying to get more distance, you can kind of get some more height on a forehand to try to let the disc hyzer out and give you some more distance, but that's perfectly fine by Will. Another tree kick. Keith, he's in the fairway, didn't get the bad kick like Rich did, but took off some distance, definitely.
Let's see what Rich can do from here.
Real tight gap, and he hits it out into the field. That's really all you can do. Can't really expect to be getting a full distance shot trying to also hit that gap. You see Keith going to the other side of that island of trees, down the hill. That's right, down near the work shed. There is an out of bounds line down there, but depending on how far down he went, he could be safe. Ben tucked in tight to the right side, having to throw a backhand turnover. Catches a tree, falls down a little bit short. Should have just a little upshot over the hill.
And that one was just parked.
Absolutely, that was a great shot. Just barely over that hill, maybe inches from the grass there. Great shot. And that not a great shot by Rich. But we see Keith, he is on that far side. Once you get far enough down there, if you're not out of bounds, you do have a look back up at the basket. Nice upshot by Ben. Should be a tap in for him. Richard could probably just see the top of that basket there, giving it a bit of a jump putt.
Oh my.
Just sails it right over the basket. And he has an even longer comebacker through the trees.
Oh, look at that.
And he nails it. That was a great putt. Unfortunately, it's for the double bogey. But, like I said before, it could always be worse. A couple of tap-ins for Ben and Keith. And Will, with that great upshot, will get the lone birdie on this card for hole 2. As we see the players heading down to the tee for hole 3, we'll take a look at it.
Hole 3 is par 3 at 265 feet.
And these players would most likely be throwing a backhand turnover, trying to get up near or potentially on top of this basically cliff of a green. If you get anywhere near it, you'll have a straight up putt to try to get your birdie. Most players will probably land shorter and try to get on top of it for a par.
Bad tree kick.
Yeah, just a little early, a little tight. He is up on top of that first shelf, so he should be able to see the basket for a second shot.
I think it's pushed into the woods there.
Pretty good shot by Ben. He's on the left side of the fairway at the bottom of the cliff, but he will definitely have some kind of look at it from there. Keith catching that one shrub in the middle of the fairway. And Rich, it's a good stop. Didn't have the right grip, maybe wrong footing, something like that. Able to stop and reset. It looked like it paid off. Right towards the basket. It really is hard to get to all the way on top of that. So he's going to be essentially parked with distance-wise, but probably 30 feet below the basket.
All right, he made it up top.
That was a great upshot by Will, just barely cresting over the top of that ridge. And Keith also able to get it onto the circle one. Just a little bit left by Ben. And this is how close Rich actually got, but he's way below the basket. But it doesn't matter. Able to get the birdie, and Goat climb up that hill to retrieve his disc out of the basket. Great putt by Rich.
Beautiful shot.
And good par by Will after not able to get too far off the tee on his first shot. And again, we'll see Ben and Keith save his par just barely over the rim, but Keith also gets it. So that was hole 3, and we will move on to hole 4.
Hole 4 is a par 3 at 234 feet.
It's a steep right to left turn, right to left slope. Not too far, but the distance control and speed control are important for this hole because there is an out-of-bounds road behind the basket. So we'll see if these players are able to accomplish that. Looks like it's got some speed. Oh. And it does. It gets tangled up in those last couple bit of trees. And he is safe.
Oh my.
Yeah, once I threw it, I knew it was just going to go right at that tree.
Early tree, but it does kick down the hill, so he's down on the plane of the basket, but not a clean line to get down there.
Come down? Yeah.
Ben catches something early and falls right onto the edge of that ridge we're looking at. This part of the course is kind of up and down a couple of rock ridges, so it creates some unique angles and surfaces like that. As Keith gives the basket a scare and catches a fortunate tree to stop him right inside the circle. And from there, Will has nothing but a vertical pitch out to get back onto the green. He was tucked pretty far down away from the basket.
Oh. Got a chain.
Just a few more chains, and that would have been a nice birdie for Ben. He had to look at it. It was pretty far, but not able to knock that one down. Another good par save from Will after not the cleanest tee shot, but he's able to hang in there.
And there's a birdie.
Great birdie by Keith. The only one on the card. As we saw Will and now Ben tapping their pars. And Rich will follow suit as we move on to hole 5.
Hole 5 is a par 3 at 248 feet.
Back uphill, the way we just came down onto a rock structure of where the basket is located. Need to hit a fairly tight gap through the trees to get all the way up there, but then also maneuver the left to right slope. Most of these players aren't trying to get too close to the basket because of the rock structure the basket sits on. They'll probably just be trying to go hyzer, stay left and get onto the flat top, pitch up to near the basket and make their par. And just on cue, Rich does what I said the players would do. Can you imagine that? Looks like he turns this one over, kicks the tree. Oh, and he goes down the back side of the slope. Past the basket, it does go down and it keeps going. It goes back down towards hole 4's basket, so we'll see exactly where his went up in a moment.
Hopefully it sat and didn't roll.
Couple of tree kicks, not great distance, but he's right in the middle of the fairway still. And that's the danger of this green. If you're not sitting up there and find a little nook for your disc to settle in, there's almost nowhere for it to go but away from the basket. It's downhill on all sides. Just settled near the basket. Gave it half a run. You have to be careful because this is where your discs go if they go past the basket. Will taking a look at what it could have been and not able to get it all the way back up. Catches a little branch. And Ben now with a similar putt.
And Ben nails it.
Absolutely. That was a great putt. Through some trees, over the rocks. Just low. And we see pretty much wherever you are, you have a uphill, over the rocks, somewhat obstructed putt. This is certainly a difficult par 3. Good par saves by all these guys, actually. 4 pars on this card. They all did it different ways, but they all got it done.
Hole 6, par 3 at 318 feet.
These guys are going to try to be aiming for this big tree right in the middle, hyzering just either in front of it or behind it. Maybe getting a bit of a skip up closer to this basket, but have to be careful with the drop-off and then steep hill behind. So Keith will start us off. It's a little bit of flip. It's hyzering back. Yep, right in the middle of the fairway. That's pretty much what you're looking for. Again, this is a par 3, but you can't really reach the basket in one shot without risking going all the way down the hill behind it.
Oh, that was a bad kick to the right.
Yeah, either side of this fairway, if you're off, it just really makes the angle for your second shot difficult. Will going a little bit straight, but that should be fine. He's up around the corner. Ben taking a bit wider, gets a skip. And
Nice little roll, too.
great shot. This is what Rich is left with. Some kind of patent pending reach out, backhand flex shot. Oh, but it worked.
That was beautiful.
Not the way he drew it up, but he'll take the result.
Another good upshot.
Yeah, more of a typical upshot you'll see on this hole. Just got to get it to sit, not go down this hill. Well, looks like he's giving it a go. Nice floaty bid, so he didn't have to worry about it going down the hill.
Pretty sure Ben just threw that in, setting it up.
That's right. He was taking his medicine there, right?
That's right.
Good putt by Keith. See if Will can match his from a similar side of the basket. And he can.
Yeah, it feels like a bird, right?
You heard it from Will himself. This hole, when you get a par, it feels like a birdie because not too many other people are able to get pars, let alone birdies.
Absolutely.
And the rest of these players will just tap out. So 4 pars on this card for hole 6, and we move on to hole 7.
And hole 7 is also a par 3 at 418 feet.
So players try to crest this hill, throwing to a blind basket. For this tournament, being around Halloween, there was a temporary graveyard set up that acted as some extra obstacles for these players. They are able to get past there. They can potentially miss the rest of these trees on this fairway, get near the green, but then there's also a downslope to an out-of-bounds parking lot behind the basket. So, very challenging hole. Again, the pars here on this course are very difficult. The distances, not so much, but the way they're set up, it's a good course design. Pretty good shot by Rich. Nice wide hyzer. Does get caught up in some trees right at the end, but should have a good look for a second shot. Will going a similar line, not quite as high. Hyzer in back. And yeah, it gets a little bit further past that tree. It's a great shot.
Beautiful shot.
Ben looks like he's going for it all. He's 2 tee pads back to start his run up. Bit of a James Conrad. And he's taking it wide. Needs to swing around that tree. Oh, and just gets caught up in it. He certainly had the speed and the power to get all the way up to the green, but just got caught up in that last tree. As we see, Keith hit a tree short and has to maneuver through that graveyard.
David, you had mentioned the tombstones that were put up for the Warwick. And the TD told me that there was a few of them taken out by discs.
And I'm not surprised by that. He put them in a very strategic location. So I'm sure those signs will be fine, but the players who hit them probably weren't happy about that. But everybody had to play against them, so it's all even.
Oh, just off the top. Oh, and it's rolling.
That needs to sit down.
Will it stay in?
Man.
Oh,
That's close. That's right on the edge. I think he is in bounds. And now has this putt to come back. Oh. Yeah, that was tough.
sure was.
Tough being that close with the vehicles in the parking lot, not intended obstacles for this layout, but Will had to go to a straddle because of his lie basically being under the bumper of that pickup truck. No fault of the pickup truck owner, but just an unfortunate circumstance. Just a bit low. Bounces off the rim of the cage. After a fairly well played hole by Ben. And there's that putt again by Will. Seems like even when it's not quite a tap in, he's still putting like that. Definitely a unique putting style. I haven't seen him putt more than about 10 feet, but
Yeah. Now we have hole 8. It's a par 4 at 362 feet.
these players are trying to get either a forehand or backhand turnover out through this gap and into the field. Their second shots, if they're able to do that, have to maneuver through these few trees over an out-of-bounds pocket and up to an elevated green. If they can do all that and land near the basket, they will get their birdie. But that is obviously easier said than done. Rich was almost able to do that last second tree kick. Did get out in the field, but out to the left instead of to the right where he was intending it to go. There's a good forehand example by Keith. Right out in pretty much the ideal landing zone. Will hit a very similar tree to Rich. I'm not sure if he got out of the woods or not there, but he'll have an obstructed second shot. And that got out. Hit
Great
something,
shot.
but Will did just barely get out into the field. So he's got this backhand turnover.
Come on.
Hits the last tree. You can hear his frustration. Looked like a good shot, just wasn't able to get clean all the way up to the green. Rich further out in the field, but farther down the hill, having to throw a similar line. Catches an outside tree. He is up near the green, maybe circle two's edge. Ben challenging that out of bounds. Oh, gets a key tree kick. Inches from coming back out of bounds. That easily could have rolled or kicked just a bit further and saved him a stroke and have basically the same putt. But unfortunately, it did stay inside. It was a good upshot by Keith, and this is what Will is left with across the fairway up to the green.
Oh my.
And makes
Beautiful.
it. Absolutely. Gotta be. Take another look at it. That had to be close to 90 feet. Gave it his absolute all. Jump putt. Lower right side. Great shot by Will. That is definitely one way to do it.
Oh my.
Just a bit low for Rich. And this is for Ben to
Ooh,
save
good
his
one.
par. That tree that he hit is in bounds. He was able to take it just a few feet closer than where he first crossed out of bounds, lower down on the hill. So I'm sure that was part of why he was able to make that. Still a great putt. Great birdie by Keith as well. So we'll wrap up hole 8 with 2 birdies and 2 pars and move on to our final hole for this front 9.
Hole 9 is par 3 at 385 feet.
So 2 ways to play this. You can go outside the way the drone is. Going this way, it really makes it difficult to get the disc moving far enough left to give yourself a shot for a birdie on this par 3. However, there is a sneaky gap through the trees over another pocket of out of bounds that if you do make it through cleanly, your disc could have the speed, momentum, and angle to get down towards the green. So we'll see which of these 2 gaps the players choose. And looks like Keith just barely made it over to crest of that hill. I believe he is in bounds, although it did go over that out of bounds pocket. Will trying to go up and over. Didn't quite make it, got caught up in a couple of those branches. Richard with a similar line to Will and gets a great skip. And really having to cut off that corner to try to get as far left as you can after getting up and around that hill. And it looks like Ben is going to challenge that tighter gap. And he does.
And oh my goodness, what a shot.
Catches a little bit of leaves, probably limits the distance, but he got that angle and he is down near the green. We'll see exactly where he ended up. You see Will gets just far enough up the hill that he can get a clean look up towards the basket, and that is a great upshot. Should have a easy par save from there. That might do. Not as close as he probably would have wanted it, but he's in the circle. Richard almost on the tee for the next basket. He got it so far with that skip. Takes it a little bit wider than he wanted it. You see the disappointment. And he'll have a putt. Not
Still a
obviously.
possibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the tree.
And that's how close Ben got. He was obstructed by a tree, so he didn't quite have a typical look at it, but much closer than the rest of our competitors.
There you go. Good par save by Rich.
And Will also looking to save his par from a similar side of the basket. There is an out-of-bounds line behind the basket. That's that rock wall we're looking at. So a little bit of a testy putt.
There you go.
Doesn't matter. He made it. So with Ben being so close, it looks like all 4 of our players will finish off this front 9 with a par.
Pars all around.
Would you call it a party?
I would.
So we'll take a look at their scores. A little bit cleaner than the first round that we're looking at. A little bit over par for Ben and Rich, even, and under par for Will. So we'll see what happens on the back 9, the finale to this tournament from Warwick, New York. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do to see more content. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to see more exclusive content and free disc giveaways. Other than that, check out the back 9 coming up, and we'll see you on the next hole.
See you on the back 9.